momentum and get more confidence as a team, that can be helpful, but at the same time you lose that rest factor. But you see in all sports, sometimes it benefits to actually have that game because you keep your flow and you keep your momentum.
Yeah, Coach Ham said her team's trained really light over the last week. Jaques, a knuckling ball towards the box, stopped by Goldstein. Half Moon Bay native, transfer from Washington, actually appeared in the NCAA tournament for about 9 minutes at Washington, 2 seasons, both occurring in 2021 before taking the starting role and playing every minute this year for UC Davis. Now the Temecula kid, Connors, running into the back of Maddie Chavez. A big physical play from Chandler Connors, earning the foul against her.
And Chavez does a nice job getting her body between the player and the ball. That's exactly what you want your center back to do.
Huff loses the battle against Molly Brannigan. Connors had a number sprinting. That was Brannigan, couldn't see her. Holly plays it all the way back to her center back. Bellameo. Heavily taped left knee there. Give and go, Holly and Mayo.
And UC Davis just getting stuck on the right side there. They can use their keeper to build out the back and switch the way of where they're passing the ball. Right now they're just getting stuck on this right side and it's too easy to defend. When you change the point of attack, you open up space because that other team has to run and the ball moves faster than the man.
Regardless of the result, this is still an Aggie team that's had one of the best finishes, if not the best finish. I understand we've had some difficulties. Glad to have you guys back. So far, 0-0 between UC Irvine and UC Davis. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer alongside the former West Virginia Mountaineer Grace Cutler. Now it's the Aggies sprinting forward with a little bit of numbers. That pass seems like nobody wants to run to get it between both Chandler Connors and Maddie Chavez, but eventually it is Chavez who beats her to it.
And I think Connors could have potentially got on that ball if she put her full effort into it. Even when it's not a perfect pass, you still want to see your forwards sprinting to try to bail your teammates out, to help them, and to get a potential shot on goal.
Holly flicks it towards the box. Hinojosa, no doubt about it.
And every time Holly's gotten the ball, when she gets past that half line, she's clearly looking to cross it in. So when you can read that cue for UC Irvine, they've got to have a forward or a midfield coming out to press her when she's sending that cross in.
And now UC Davis continuing to attack the right side of their formation. Looking for windows to eventually swing it to the left, as they finally do here. Connors. Deflection through the wickets there. Vane stumbles, says get up. All ball, and now Tatsi Fong with numbers. Just couldn't get around Lexi Trucco. A nice bounce, but eventually the Aggies clear all the way to the back line for UC Irvine. Smangita Covey wide, crossing opportunity, and a diving stop there for UC Davis.
And both teams defensively just giving the players a little bit too much respect and a little bit too much space. I want to see more physical play. When a midfielder or forward gets on the ball, you've got to start bumping them and push them off the ball. Even if you're not going to steal the ball and you're keeping your body defensively in front of your own net, you can knock a player a little bit just to keep them out of their rhythm.
Again, UC Irvine's only true look at it was Tatsu Fung. UC Davis has had 2 attempts at it, one being a wide open Leslie Fragoso. Just her and Glo Hinojosa to beat. And neither team thus far up to the challenge as we reach the crucial final 15 minutes before halftime. And there's a whistle. Going down is Alana Curtis.
And an obvious foul there. Curtis does a good job getting into the attack. It's unpredictable when you have these outside backs running forward. It's harder to defend, so I like Curtis, how quickly she went into the attack when she got the ball.
Long ball in, and a whistle even before Hinojosa got a paw on it. The ball bouncing around. Hinojosa wanted to play it, couldn't even find it there.
And these are the moments for UC Irvine. They've got to control the ball there. There's times where it's smart to build out quickly, and there's times where it makes sense to get your team ready to go into the attacking possession. And there I think they just played a bit too quickly, and the team was frankly unprepared to go into the attack.
Jaquez threads the needle. Monzo, who did score against UC Davis way back when, before September ended. No? No? Okay. Flicked away. Settled by Connors for a moment before Sus de Bakker couldn't keep it, and now she plays it out into the Aggie bench. Everybody all standing on their feet. And while it is sunned out, Grace, it is very cool down the field. A lot cooler than it looks. They're not burning on the field, I promise you. It is very chilly at the moment. Goldstein saying, all right, let's get involved in this one. It's only faced 2 shots. Technically none on goal for the Eaters, as Fung's shot above the bar. And now UCI getting in a trio of subs. Alyssa Moore, this was a key one that Coach Juniper brought up to us as to what is her health. Moore this year, 3 goals coming in off the bench, and the real question was, is her health? How many minutes can she give us? And that was one of the key players he circled as someone impactful that may or may not be able to go. Was kind of questionable for this one today.
Marissa Levine replacing number 18, Aislinn Crowder.
So heading to the bench, Aislinn Crowder for UC Irvine. Haven't said her name all too much today. We'll get the other subs to you in just a moment. First time the Eaters spring on their subs. Now, and what Coach Juniper mentioned to us was key, getting starters off their feet. Good 10 to 15 minutes before halftime. Led them to be fresh late in the second half into an eventual early game winner against Cal State Fullerton in the first period of overtime. Long ball down the sideline for Fragoso. You can tell kind of conserving that energy there. The Eaters in their playoff pinks. Almost a little miss hit there by Hinojosa, but still gets the job done. And again, the lack of ability, Grace, to keep possession by UC Irvine.
And UC Davis there doing a good job pressing to ensure they get the ball back. It's going to be hard to build out the back when you have players running at you. As a defender, it makes you feel more insecure and like you need to get it off your foot fast. And Holly, so far, number 2 for UC Davis, has been wanting the ball all game, which is exactly what you want out of your older players, but also in tournament play, players that are saying, give me the ball, I can make good things happen. And both defensively and offensively so far, she's been shining.
Marissa Levine coming in for UC Irvine for Crowder as we finally get those subs in for you guys. No deflection. Some more steps on, but a foul and a whistle.
And this is an unfortunate place to foul on the field because it's giving Holly the perfect place to send a looping cross in that can be potentially headed in or knotted in some other way.
Holly with the swing. Headed towards goal and takes a bounce. Not too challenging for Hinojosa.
And Ruelas did a good job getting on that, but ideally you want that ball curving further so you're not having to come back for it. You want your forwards to be able to take their momentum straight at goal, going in behind that back line instead of in front.
Moore delivers for Covey. Lets it fly off the wrists and out for an Anteater corner.
And Covey there does a great job finding her shot quickly. UC Irvine just got into the attack so fast. That's such a big key to the match, getting that counterattack game going. And Covey, that was a fantastic shot from range.
Finally testing Goldstein. 36th minute into the 37th, first corner. Huff bends it in the box. Easily challenged as Anteater hits the deck. Another chance at it. Huff hits it skyward. And everybody falling down, including a couple of eaters, as UC Davis sprinting forward. Fragoso getting tugged from behind. Still with possession, though, is Connors. Very physical tug there for UC Irvine.
And those are the moments for UC Davis. Maybe it makes sense just to hold possession. There's moments when you should attack the counterattack, and then there's moments where you have to be able to look up and see where are our numbers and where are their numbers. If we have less of our own players in this lane of the field, let's build out the other way and then hit the attack. And those are those little moments of composure that I would just like to see up-leveled for both teams.
Either way, kind of written before this one, it seemed like it might need some late drama as the way this one might finish. UC Irvine good at keeping as a big shoulder to Fragoso. Been called. Emily Castagna just bringing the physicality off the bench. A little tug here, a shoulder bump there. And now there goes Anteater tumbling to the turf. Fans don't like it. No card. They make sure that Seuss DeBacher is okay.
And even though we're seeing a little bit more physicality, both back lines are allowing the forwards to turn. You never want to allow that. If a forward gets the ball back to goal, you got to make sure her back stays away. They're letting them be able to face up and turn. That's just a bit too easy. I need to see more aggression by both back lines, making it more difficult for those center forwards when they get the ball.
Neither one of these teams strike before the first half ends. Interesting strike of it for Amber Huff again. All over the pitch today is Huff. If UC Irvine is in the attacking third, it almost always goes through Amber Huff. And winner for this one will go to the championship match in the 2022 Big West Women's Soccer Championship, Sunday, November 6th, coming up. It'll be at 1 p.m. right on ESPN Plus. Of course, you'll be on the call there, Grace, with Tammy Blackburn. The championship match this Sunday afternoon with an extra hour of sleep. We'll all be grateful for that, for what, I think the last daylight savings time, maybe?
I have no idea.
Whatever it is, we get an extra hour of sleep, hopefully for the drama, for not only this one, but the later one tonight. Supposedly supposed to kick off around 7 p.m. based on when this one ends, between Number 1 Cal Poly and number 4 Long Beach State. This one being the 2 and 6 seeds. Usually a Big West tournament that usually held almost always 4 teams. Played in 96 and 97, a hiatus until 03. Of course, UC Davis not even in the Division I ranks or the Big West that early. As Huff targets forward. This is Alyssa Moore. Might have stopped it with the hand and a deflection. And finally a late whistle with the flag being raised on the clear handball against Moore.
And Moore there looking for her shot so early. Since both teams' attackers are having the ability to turn and face up, that slip pass is on. That means that second runner running in behind is going to create a more effective scoring opportunity rather than turning from range and trying those long range shots.
Chip forward with numbers running, but it's Hinojosa to scoop it up. Sarah Canavan there, racing forward with some speed and wind at her back. It was Canavan who had that late winner in Long Beach on a weird deflection off of her chest on a failed clearance by the beach. And she said, well, this is easy, and put it in the back of the net. And one of the easier finishes she'll see with no defense except for the Long Beach State keepers or a stand-for in front.
And a goal's a goal. As a soccer player, anything that goes up any part of my body into the net, as long as it's not my hands, I'm here for it.
Holly lets it fly.
Somebody.
Chip forward. Physicality moving, and Smangy going back and forth with one of the Aggies. Sammy Ruelas, a sub from Chino Hills, getting in it with Smangy. Some talking back and forth, but it's the Eaters pushing numbers forward just about 3.5 minutes before the first half comes to a close.
And it's been a bit sloppy by both teams. They're playing too quickly sometimes, and they've got to understand when to speed up the game and when to slow it down. And ideally, you want your midfield to really have that control and awareness.
Huff sent it in, cleared. Settled Jaquez. Line drive ball near post. No trouble for Goldstein.
Alice Jaquez, saved by Kaylee Goldstein.
Coming in, it wouldn't be too hard to have predicted that if this one heads to halftime, the score would have looked as it is with goose eggs on the board. But still, the momentum can shift so dramatically. One of these two sides can poke one in the back of the net as Erin Covey gets a late sub out. Layla El Bahiri coming in.
And at halftime, I think these coaches can really make adjustments because both teams have clear styles of play that they're choosing. UC Davis are obviously trying to get crosses in the box, especially from Holly on this right side. So when you can tell what the other team's habit patterns are, you can simplify the game for yourself and be better moving into the attack.
Holly steps in front of the errant pass. Sent forward, flicked on, little trip. Canavan tumbles. No whistle, everybody expecting one, and Fragoso still kind of waiting for a whistle. Everybody stunned there wasn't. Play on. Fragoso needs some space. Has to play it back wide. Hinojosa, that's too easy for her. Scoops it up after Lexi Trucco with the left foot sends it in.
And Fragoso's work rate, we're seeing it throughout the game. She's doing a really good job trying to create opportunities. Going into the second half, I believe both midfielders and midfields could do better controlling the game. Both sides seem to be going directly from the outside backs to the forwards. I would like to see the midfields more hungry for the ball, more dynamic, and controlling the game better. You want your midfield to operate as a three-man quarterback.
Miscommunication. Brannigan couldn't get it to Canavan. UC Irvine can sit on this or send it long, which they do. Jaquez couldn't target more. This sets up UC Davis for one last 30-second push. Ruelas. And that's a tough foul. As we'll watch the clock tick to the final 20 seconds. That's Holly racing over from right to left. About 10 seconds when she takes it. Lets it
10,
fly.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And one last flick of it for Fragoso. Couldn't get there. And 45 minutes in the books of the first Big West Women's Soccer Championship semifinal here at Mustang Memorial Field, presented by Dignity Health. And it's 0-0 at the half, Grace. Quickly, your thoughts.
There's room for improvement by both teams going into the second half, and I believe both coaching staffs.
Ontario International Airport. Just a reminder that the championship match of the 2022 Big West Women's Soccer Championship, Sunday, November 6th. The winner of this match, well, they'll be the road team technically, and will they be the true road team against Cal Poly, the hosts, or against Long Beach State? We will find out. It's right here on ESPN Plus, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Remember to set your clocks back. Join Tammy Blackburn and our one and only Grace Cutler for the call on Sunday afternoon to crown our Big West champion and see who gets to go and move on to the NCAA tournament.
And it's going to be interesting what changes were made at halftime, because both teams did have room for improvement, and this second half is so crucial. The mentality has got to come up a few levels, and the aggression has got to come up a few levels.
Again, nothing too much offensively. It seemed like that first 17 minutes, there was a good flow to this match where it seemed like we might have an up and down, running back and forth match, very open flow, lots of shots, and then all of a sudden, seemed asleep, like our guy at the scorer's table right there. You know, it all of a sudden just kind of took a downtick.
And both teams doing a good job getting in the attacking third, but soccer isn't one just getting into the attacking third. You've got to have dangerous scoring opportunities.
Vane turns. This ball in. Hinojosa, a little hop step as much as my vertical is, but hers much higher. Scoops it up and rolls it forward. The Aggies settle and play it back. Van Norden looking to bark out the signals, instead plays it back to her right. Almost the near perfect steal there. Instead, it's the Eaters who are slowly working their way forward. Zeus de Bakker for Tatu Fung, the lone excellent opportunity for UCI today. And Goldstein chops it forward for Alana Curtis. Instead, those two can't connect.
And already a little bit of a slow start to me. I want to see more aggression in this second half, as I was just talking about. It doesn't feel like either side is really hunting a goal yet.
I know we were talking before in our prep for this one, Grace. Whoever is going to be the aggressor this match will win this game. So far, it's been in pieces. And can this be the aggressive moment for Irvine? Instead, Huff, way wide, pleads for a corner. And they're saying, no, that's a goal kick.
And that's one of the cons of possession-oriented play. I love beautiful soccer, but sometimes it leaves you a bit too defensive. And when you have teams lobbing in more long balls, they're already playing on the front foot. And sometimes when you see these possession-oriented teams, they're a little bit too neutral.
And neither one of these teams, when they came up to San Luis Obispo the first time, were really too aggressive. But here's Covey, lets it fly off the bar! Still in play and bounces out.
And that's a beautiful shot by Covey. That is not an easy chance right there, and she truly makes the most of it.
That's the second time today, I believe, Grace. She's really had one from deep, lets it fly.
And this is a bouncing ball, which allows her to get more power on it even easier. But what I love is the way she allows that to drop so she can volley it so cleanly. A great chance right there for Covey.
It turned into a random 3-on-1. Covey let it fly. The Anteaters pleading for a handball. They get it. Covey almost belted what would have been the lid lifter today.
And one thing that Covey has done twice this match so far is create a scoring opportunity out of nothing.
UC Irvine making their fans' presence known. Huff lets it fly over the bar, connected off the field goal crossbar, hit behind the net on the deflection. And Goldstein getting challenged, not having to put her hands on the ball just yet, but very close to that top bin.
And I love the confidence there by Huff. That's a long-range shot right there, and she goes straight for goal. And those are the things you want to see in a tournament game, players who are confidently stepping up to try to score.
As you always tell me, Grace, knockout play, tournament play, favors the goal scorers. And while UC Davis may have the more dynamic one in Fregoso, it is UC Irvine who's taken more goes for it right out of the locker room.
And it's so important. You want to get momentum as early as possible, especially playing possession-oriented teams. If you can be on that front foot, you can most likely hold it there.
Again, this is an Irvine team without Desmond Doza, Sophie Gillies, both taking injuries late on the final week of the regular season as Fregoso heads it back. So this is still a beaten, battered, and bruised Anteater team. Play on is Fregoso, who she herself was out for a little portion of the season. Forward for Fung, nothing happening there.
And it was a great step out by Hawkes to come strong and confident, but those next pass moments have got to be better. You steal the ball, but you're able to still hold possession afterwards. And sometimes that doesn't mean always go forward. If you feel like it's too tight and the matchup isn't looking good moving forward, stand on the ball, stop on it, and then allow to change the sides of play.
Huff, a long launch over Covey's head, and it turns into a corner for UC Irvine, their second of the match tonight. First one wasn't all too spectacular. Little in-swinger near post, flicked away. Fung, cross everything, and Jess whistles past the back post.
And there were no UC Irvine players occupying that back space. All of them got drawn forward. They need to have one player there having the awareness and the mentality to understand we still need someone occupying that back post.
Goldstein's eyes have to be wide open with the amount of chances UC Irvine's put in the box, but nothing technically on net.
And that's a problem, Zach. When you're in tournament play, if you're making opportunities, they have to be more dangerous because you have to make the most of what you can. One of these teams scores in the 85th minute, and you're going to regret all these opportunities that weren't more effective.
UC Irvine taking charge. This is Fung. Little distribution to her left. Gets it back. Just a little poke check, and Huff races it down. Bends it in. Goldstein goes down to her knees to scoop it up.
13, Amber Huff, saved by number 1, Haley Goldstein.
And the Washington transfer there, barking out instructions, has started every match, not been taken out for any one part. Part of some key shutouts, 5 this year, including the upset win over Santa Clara.
And Huff there has been all over the field tonight, right and left, up and down, unable to really bend it so it goes away from keeper, but her work ethic has been there. But for both teams, it's that extra bit of execution. There's some decent work rate, there's some decent individual play, but that extra pass, that one more pass in front of goal, that allows you to really have a great scoring opportunity.
Genevieve Fonts on the near post. Flag is raised, so Hinojosa just simply drops it, plops it down, and restarts.
And this is the second time this game that UC Irvine has built out the back quickly when they should just allow their team to adjust because they're losing the ball sometimes when they're choosing to play quickly.
Bain, a little shove in the back, down goes Manzo. I'm not sure how much more you can complain about other than a card. Saying, hey, it's a card. I'm like, well, that was a good acting job, too. Manzo, one of your players to watch, Grace. Hasn't done as much in the second half, if not the majority of this game.
And neither midfield has really done enough in terms of controlling the game. We see that there, even though it works out, it's not a very composed pass. I want both midfields to take more accountability and more authority on the game.
It's like they built a wall in midfield and they're trying to say, hey, get it over this wall and go play that way. DeBacher. Fung with the right, has a runner, doesn't use her. And now here's Monzo with time and space. A little chip in and a scoop up by Goldstein. It was DeBacher. Couldn't find any runners coming into goal.
And a beautiful through ball to thread into DeBacher right there. But again, we're talking about these final third passes. That last pass has got to set your team up for success. We get a better look at it now. Just straight to the keeper for the second time. It's a bit too easy.
That ball may be bouncing a little bit differently than it would if, say, like last year when Cal Poly could have hosted. They were co-Big West regular season champs with Irvine, who beat them on the final day of the regular season to earn the 1 seed on a late run to eventually winning the Big West tournament. Last year there was grass here, and as I joked with Coach Ham, it would have been fairly muddy. Of course, first match of the day, we had a little bit of rain, a little bit of sun throughout the week. Bounces a little bit different on turf than it does if it were a grass day. Monzo, well off target. You hear the crowd build in excitement. Then, ooh.
In Huff, to be able to keep possession in that play is having some great moments of individual effort and sauce and creativity. And for UC Irvine, not just Monzo, some of these shots don't need to be shots yet. Get closer to goal. Make it easier for your team to score.
Nifty flick there. Fregoso. You can see her losing a little bit of steam against Smangy, and then she cuts the angle. Fregoso on net, shoots in the chest of Hinojosa.
And Fregoso did so well there. You see that swim move to get past the defender, unable to get it past keeper, but a better look there for UC Davis. And Fregoso just outbodying her. You see that little swim move over the top, directly at keeper though. You want to see her either hit that near post hard or bend it really far so it goes around that keeper into the right side.
It seemed like the late charge from Maddie Chavez, the center back coming in, really messed with the ankle.
And it can be hard when you're sprinting to then slow it down for a shot. You see that a lot with forwards when they're going at high pace to then be able to slow it down right before goal.
And then Seuss DeBacher, a little slipperoo there. Not often you see that. It's too early in the day, one would have thought, before you would have seen the ball slip out of DeBacher's hands, but a little airmail on the throw-in. And the throw-in now for the Aggies, who look to take advantage on the rare turnover on the throw-in before the ball is put in play. Curtis looking for a window, and that window was closed. Gets it back, though. Huff races forward. Jaquez almost connects. Does just that, Covey. Jaquez working through multiple players. And the Aggies clear it out to Porter. Lets it fly. Little out of the room in range of Fregoso. Is it not? She stays on her feet. 3-on-1. Has runners calling for it, but last-minute challenges. Takes Fregoso off the ball by UC Irvine.
It's so close there for UC Davis. Fregoso doing such a great job. Her work rate is simply showing out the other team right now for that back line in UC Irvine. We get a good look now. Monzo coming at the other side. But Fregoso is just quicker and working harder. This UC Irvine defense has got to make sure they're holding their body between Fregoso and the ball.
Jaquez to Fung, but stepping up is Goldstein.
As a defender, if there's a forward running behind you, trying to get past you, you have to be aware of where your body is spatially and do a basketball style box out so they can't get around you. You need to be able to create a bigger body space as a defender in those moments.
Monzo settles but loses. It's that part of the match where The fans of match number 2 coming in, getting ready for what will be an exciting, intense match between Long Beach State and Cal Poly. While still enjoying the level match at the moment, 0-0 between UC Irvine and UC Davis as we're about to finish the middle 30. So far, neither team has dominated the middle 30 with equal opportunities, but nothing punched in the back of the net.
And for UC Davis, these long balls where it then becomes a 50-50 ball with Fregoso are working, and I like that because it's making UC Irvine defense nervous, and that's how you keep breaking a team down. When you're predictable, you're not very nervous because you know what's coming, but what UC Davis is offering is a different way they're building into the attack, and that's going to make UC Irvine defense second-guess themselves a little bit.
So far, Irvine outshooting the Aggies 4-2 in the second half with plenty of pace and opportunity. DeBacher, little swipe of it. '60th minute. And we do have to have a winner of some sort, whether via overtime, no more golden goal, or PKs, which are a touchy subject around these parts here in San Luis Obispo, not because of anything, but these two teams love to decide a winner, whether it be in regulation, one way or the other. A second corner, though, for UC Davis.
Davis, corner kick, number 2, Jade Hawley.
So both teams with 2 corners apiece, 15 combined shots, although only 7 of them on goal. Hawley plays it short. Fregoso wiggling through, and almost too much to get through there, cleared away. Do you like playing it short there, Grace?
I don't mind it, and it actually looked like Fregoso had the chance and the space to turn, but it wasn't quick enough there, and those 2 UC Irvine players did have the heads up play to come out quick, but I like the unpredictability of playing short and long. Especially when a player like Fregoso is doing so well in these 1v1 moments, it does make sense to me to find her in a corner kick opportunity.
Smengi. Now to DeBacher. Match that's had 19 fouls, but yet no cards. Match that showcased increased physicality, but yet a nice sense of reliability by the officials that this one's well under control.
Definitely, from the first few minutes of the game, it felt like the head referee was not going to let too much physicality happen.
Head official tonight, Bernard Hosu, making sure everybody knows what's going on. Keeping a steady pace on this one that so far has had an up and down feel to it. Peaks and valleys in terms of chances and lack thereof. Fregoso takes a spill.
And that's a big foul there on Fregoso. You hear the fans in the stands calling for a yellow card.
They haven't given one so far, Grace. I'm not sure that's going to warrant one tonight. Might need something extra egregious for something to be pulled out here in a championship semifinal.
And I want to see this long ball by Hawley to get past the back line. That way these offensive players for UC Davis can just run straight at goal.
Hawley, low line drive, and it flicks just a little to the left of the net. Aggies pleading for a corner. And it looks like an Irvine sub may come on.
And I like the amount of power that Hawley got on this. And we see a pretty decent effort there. But again, if you can loft it a bit higher in behind that back line, you can have a player just easily run on it and take your momentum into net.
For UC Irvine,
So it's
coming in
Alyssa Moore
16,
again. Coach Juniper stressing to us the
Alyssa
health
Moore replacing number
and
13,
physically
Amber Huff.
and how fit she could be tonight to go multiple minutes, multiple entries into the match. Huff out. This one's thrown down the line for Moore. Here's Covey, who's been the best offensive threat for the Anteaters tonight. Just alongside Tati Fung. Covey makes her run, but those two can't connect.
And I love that idea by Fung, finding Covey going across the back line. It's such a good idea, just with a little bit too much pace. But I like this. It's a style we haven't seen them have more of those aggressive slip balls building into the attacking third. I want to see UC Irvine continue to play like that.
Surellis back in, this time for Fonts. Ruelas taking control. A nice challenge there for UC Irvine. It's Gianna Creighton as Covey races forward. Finds Moore. Can she be a super sub? And in the moment of truth, an airmail.
Moore trying to set herself up for that bending shot, but unable to get the coordination to go with the touch. But Covey, I like how she gets the ball and immediately is looking forward, especially in a game with so much on the line. That's exactly what you want your forwards to be doing.
Again, a combination of 7 goals UC Irvine are without. Mendoza and Gillies, and more already as this shot is wound up and deflected.
16, Alyssa Moore blocked.
So about 10 goals either out or facing illness as this one's headed down. That's more.
That's a pretty good ball there by Monzo, able to find Moore's head on a dime.
Clearly these first 20 minutes of the second half dominated by UC Irvine, not without a few breakouts from UC Davis. Seems like both teams have swung the momentum. Mostly UC Davis with a large opportunity to score in the first half. It's been the Eaters. Not bringing out the Zot, Zot, Zot chant just yet. Battle of the UCs and the blue and golds. Although you wouldn't look at it if on the pitch tonight if you see any gold outside the head official. Just pink and blue. Little chip forward. Brannigan settles for UC Davis. And intercepted by UC Irvine. Moore with Goldstein out of net, but can't find a teammate to connect to.
And UC Irvine in moments still getting stuck in areas of the field. When they build out into one area, they often stay in that lane. They can still switch the point of attack a little bit more.
Fregoso racing, but you can still tell that pep in her step not as quiet as it was when the match kicked off.
And it's going to depend on what ball she's chasing after. If she feels like she can make it, she usually seems to have that pep. But if the ball looks like she definitely can't get there, it's understandable that you're not going to run after every single ball.
Now Fregoso, who's been so good with body positioning, losing out to Smengi. Pleading for a foul, stays in after Fregoso's extra effort, keeps it with Vane.
And Vane's done a lot better in the second half, being composed on the ball and just creating space for herself and dictating the pace of the game. There's been moments where she's been able to switch the point of attack and slow the game down when it needs to be slowed down.
Closing in on 20 minutes left in regulation. If you thought about it, folks, the first two Big West matches in the tournament, UC Irvine, Cal State Fullerton, Long Beach State, and UC Santa Barbara, both of those went to overtime. So if that was any indication how this one may wind up, but here's Ruelas getting spun around and earning a set piece a good 20 yards in front of the box.
And such a smart play by Ruelas, because Monzo's coming with all her aggression to go into the attack, and Ruelas with just a crafty turn there to use Monzo's aggression against her.
It's the Aggies who have won 5 in a row. The hottest team in the Big West, from under 500 to the clear-cut number 2 seed in the bye of the semis. Holly, number 2 herself, lets it fly, but well over everything.
And these are the moments that you've got to start getting shots on goal. We're at the 70th minute of the game, and some of these opportunities just aren't creating enough. We get a look back. I don't mind the confidence to come up and strike it. She clearly has the power and the range, but you've got to create something for your team that's creating a better scoring opportunity.
Emily Castagna, replacing number 18, Aislinn Crowder.
So it looks like they've moved Fregoso to the right side of the formation on the attack for UC Davis. Tatsu Fung, an Energizer bunny on the attacking half for UC Irvine, just like Leslie Fregoso's been on the opposite side. Porter reads space well, plays it back.
I'd like to see more UC Irvine players checking to the ball. There's a lot of these moments where it feels slow because the UC Irvine players getting the ball, looking up, and there's not enough players running towards. Ideally, you want a few players running away and creating space and a few players coming towards the ball.
It was Smangy leading the charge, but stonewalled on the through ball attempt.
And those little movements are really what win you games. When you can create little pockets of space like we've seen with Covey, then you get that scoring opportunity. So if these UC Irvine players can be a little bit better on these 2 to 5 yard runs where you're just popping off defenders and asking for the ball, they're going to have more success building into the attacking third.
Time and space. Once again, Monzo wiggling through, lets it fly. Off the bar! Another chance! Way too tall! Monzo in disgust. That close, the second time tonight. UC Irvine's pounded one off the woodworks.
And a fantastic chance by Monzo. She completely created this off her own dribble, and they were unable to finish on the reactionary save. But Monzo just showing what she can do there, being able to have the physicality and the technique to create opportunities.
What one would expect, a quick rest for Monzo as Huff comes back in. As Huff comes in for Monzo. Man, oh man. Both teams with 4 shots on goal, but it's UC Irvine clearly dictating the pace in this second half. Although UC Davis, they've done this, including their last match. They can weather the storm and sneak one out late. They've done that multiple times. They beat Santa Clara when getting outshot by plenty. Own goal by the Broncos to upset the then number 5 Santa Clara team, who are the front runners to win the WCC and host a first round match. UC Irvine, normally when we saw them last, back on their heels dictating pace, but falling victim to a pretty stout Davis, let's say it, crossbar. Best defender tonight. The quick counter, stymied from Hawley, kicking it off the chest of Covey.
And these long balls off the set pieces for UC Davis haven't been working very effectively. So sometimes that means let's just keep possession and then build into the attack. If we're not scoring goals off set pieces the way we're trying to do it in game time, quick decisions, can we decide to do a different way that's going to be more effective in creating better scoring opportunities?
Curtis. Ruelas. Chipped in and flicked away. The ever-dangerous Lindsay Porter. A bouncing ball in the box, and some miscommunication almost leads to a disastrous chance. Would you say you'd rather have the defender flick it off, Grace, or would you rather have Hinojosa directing traffic?
It completely depends on how confident you are in that play. It's so situational. If you, as a defender, aren't feeling confident that you can get it away from goal or towards the keeper directly, then don't do it. But if you know you can execute it, then go ahead. The last thing you want to do is create an own goal because you were hesitating and couldn't decide. One thing I've learned, especially when I play defender, if I make an obvious decision right away, even if it's wrong, then my whole team can adjust accordingly. But if I hesitate, it's harder for everyone on my team to then make up for the mistake if there's a potential mistake there. So whatever you do, just do it with your whole heart and stand on it. That's what I've learned.
It's a life lesson from Grace. Bulletin board material there for life lessons, just like UC Irvine learned from you last time. That's what Coach Juniper told us. They needed to attack, send more forward. They've done that today. What did Grace say? She said that, and she almost became a de facto assistant coach for the Anteaters. It's pretty funny when he said that. Had the bulletin board with all the quotes saying exactly what he's told his team time and time again.
And it's funny seeing coaches after you've already called their game, especially me. I'm a soccer nerd, and I'm often critical of the game. So to then have to look at those coaches in the eyes and talk about everything you said, it's a funny moment.
Time and space. Here's an opportunity. Smangy muscles the attack off the ball. That's Sarah Canavan, who scored the game winner against both UC Santa Barbara and Long Beach in this recent 5-match run for the Aggies.
Substitution for UC Irvine.
Often at this point of game, when it's a tournament play, you see one team really gain momentum and turn up their aggression. I'm curious to see if we're going to see that with not too much time left in the game.
Just about 14 minutes before regulation is up. Can we have a late winner, if not go-ahead goal? After this, 2 10-minute overtime periods. We play the full 20. And if necessary, PKs. But Canavan on the wide side says, nah, I got this. Empty little move. But Smangy, the physical recovery, maybe a little bit of the acting job, diving for it like she got pushed from behind.
And you see defenders doing that smartly in moments so they can get possession of the ball back. And Canavan trying that sauce to get the nutmeg, but unable to get it on the other side. And for both teams offensively, I think they could have smaller range passes that are setting them up for easier scoring opportunities. You don't only want these long range passes, it's harder to get a shot on goal. Simplifying creates scoring opportunities.
And Fragoso spun around, and that will bring the first card of the match. I think it's Alex Jaquez who sent Fragoso sprawling.
And Jaquez has been doing such a good job coming out strong and quickly, but there we just see an obvious foul coming out too strong.
And it's at that stage of the match where players will take that extremely physical foul.
And fully taking Fragoso out. And Fragoso's a quick player, so it can be hard to manage that.
Holly, way too wide of any of the traffic in front of the net. Quick run out from Hinojosa.
And again, if the long ball set piece isn't giving you good scoring opportunities, why not build out the back and create a possession-oriented attack there?
Ruelas, Canavan, stepping on it, a little shove, they let it go. DeBacher hits the turf.
And Canavan just trying to do a little bit too much. I like that she likes her dribble. You want to have your forwards really feeling confident on the ball, but there's moments to dribble and there's moments to pass, and there's a few moments when she's over-dribbling.
Speaking of dribbling, finds Fragoso, dispossessed before she had a runner streaking for goal. And Jaquez clears as we tick closer to the 80th minute. slowly but surely.
And a great initial effort by Kobe to get the ball and to face up. And again, it's that next pass. You get the ball and then what? Take a breath, slow it down. If you are outnumbered going forward, hold the ball up, allow your whole team to come into the attack with you.
For Connors, Hinojosa with the collision. And the center official waves it off, and it's Hinojosa who is down in some discomfort. The official says, come check out the starting keeper, in the yellow awarded to Chandler Connors.
And Connors has to go for that ball as a forward. You have to go, because if Hinojosa doesn't get it, then you get a shot on goal.
Take me through this, Grace. Can you pull up?
Maybe, but it's so last second. She doesn't seem to have a great view of where the ball is going, so she ends up going straight at keeper. It's an obvious yellow card on Connors there. But again, you want your forward hunting that ball.
And what did Coach Juniper tell us about Glo Hinojosa? She'll be walking around even if it was a quote-unquote like flesh wound, fighting through. We'll do whatever it takes to stay on the field. Even in a PK scenario, we kind of alluded to, it's Glo Hinojosa, if healthy, if she can basically remain upright. But all we hope is she's healthy, and with that big collision, you wonder with the head-to-head contact as the fans riling her on, cheering her on with the Glo, Glo, Glo chant.
And Hinojosa did a great job stepping out on that play. That's exactly what you need your goalkeeper to do in those moments. Come out fast and strong to make your body big, so then you can get the foul or the ball or both.
Hinojosa, the redshirt junior from Chula Vista East Lake High, played her club ball with Rebels SC, so it's technically still another year where both these teams can be extremely competitive if everybody sticks around for the next 2 years. Arguably, this could be a match, dare I say it, Grace, we see in the Big West Final in 2023 with how much these two sides have returning. I mean, you have to be careful if your Connors there, though, partner, because little hook and hold yellow card, and all of a sudden Davis is down to 10 players.
She definitely needs to be mindful of how physical her play is, and she's going to have to tone it down after receiving a yellow card.
And Smangy from behind. And now everybody will be pulled off getting yellows. It's Canavan who kind of shrugs it off. Everybody gets a card. You get a card. You get a card.
And UC Davis has to be careful here, because sometimes all teams need is a little bit of anger. A little bit of anger can power your whole team to be a little bit more aggressive and then go for that goal. I mean, it's an obvious yellow card here. She completely misses the ball and completely gets the player for UC Irvine.
Huff sends it long. This is Jaquez to win it wide. Still for an Aggie throw. Or excuse me, a UC Irvine throw. Aggies pleading that it was theirs from their own bench. Huff will take her long run, stands in front of that cart. Steps it in, and a big pounce headed away. Again, a lot of some key attackers for UC Irvine getting some moments of rest here. UC Davis, not so much. Scott Juniper telling us, hey, it's been the rest we've been able to get to our players in-game. For Tracy Ham, the fourth-year head coach for UC Davis, she mentioned how her team's training came with a light training session over the last week. Which strategy will pay off into this match that may be destined for overtime, barring a goal in the last 10 minutes.
And it's going to be really important for UC Davis when they're getting back possession of the ball that these attackers for UC Davis are holding the ball and allowing the team to come up. When it starts getting more crazy and feel more scarce, it's important that you can hold possession as your center forwards to allow your team to feel calm and confident building back into the attack.
And right as we talk about UC Davis's weary legs, here is the substitution.
Davis coming in number 27, Emma Bain, replacing number 18, Sarah Canavan.
Coach Ham telling us how creative she can be in the attack, how hard she works. Just with Leslie Fregroso, a nice combo from the edge of the midfield to her up top. Either way, very creative between those two up top for UC Davis if they put him that way. As Vane steps in, heads it forward.
One thing that Coach Ham told us about Vane is that she's multi-dimensional, and I love that for a midfielder trait, that you're able to wear all these different hats.
Substitution for UC Irvine coming in number 22, Destiny Monzo.
Now Monzo returns as Castagna heads to the bench. Monzo getting a quick breather after she hit the crossbar. Second time Irvine had done that tonight.
Hitting the crossbar on a complete solo effort. It was an epic play by Monzo to create a scoring chance.
Fregoso dispossessed Huff, but Fregoso plays it back. One miscue could be the difference between moving on and your season ending. Smangy reaches back and keeps it from going to Connors, who is playing on a yellow.
And it's a bit sloppy at the moment by both teams. You can feel like they can see what the time is in the game and it's getting to them a little bit. This is when you want your captains, your leaders, the ones with a lot of experience to be able to slow the game down when it needs to.
Now more subs coming back in. One would believe it's Tati Fung, who's been having a long rest for UC Irvine.
Substitution for Irvine coming in number 10, Tati Fung, replacing number 20, Aaron Covey.
Covey, who's been especially dangerous, but he's been quick to interchange those parts up front. It's Coach Juniper.
And that's a nod to how much depth UC Irvine has to be able to be in the 83rd minute and sub out one of your better players.
With one equally as dangerous, Fung, who's alongside Monzo, both equally rested, just seconds apart from returning back to action. But not on the same page with her teammate Huff.
And these are the moments that UC Davis needs to possess the ball. I don't mind wanting to get into the attack quickly, but you can move quickly without going in a rush.
Substitution for the Aggies coming in number 8, Molly Brannigan, replacing number 23, Chandler Connors.
So Connors to the bench with Brannigan reinserted. A little bit of energy back in as the sub Connors goes back, and also to protect yourself from a second yellow.
And I think that's a smart sub there because she was still playing really aggressive. I love that she's hungry and hunting the ball, but still playing at a high level of physicality on a yellow card is dangerous.
Ruelas can't split a pair. Curtis Smangy bullying her off the ball and just past the end line turns into a goal kick. Vane. Chip forward for Goso, a little scissor chop at it. And deflection, a little whiff at it. Off of DeBacher, turned into a late Irvine corner.
Ruelas is doing a good job just being confident and composed on the ball, able to get a corner kick for her team there. All night when she's on the ball, she just seems to have that extra level of awareness and confidence in her game.
Corner kick for Davis, number 2, Jade Holly.
Last time they played it short, a little cheeky to Fregoso, who couldn't wiggle her way through traffic. 86th minute, Holly bends it in. And that's over everything, despite maybe the optical illusion there.
And that's an unfortunate play because, as I've been saying, you have to get shots on goal. This is a do-or-die game. It's got to be better in those moments.
Now 87th minute, Hinojosa, after getting run over by Connors. Still making sure everything's okay.
And both teams in the attack are making it harder for themselves when they're unable to just execute these simple passes, those last final third passes to really create effective scoring opportunities.
Here we go. All trickling through to Hinojosa.
And when Holly gets the ball, you know it's going long. She's been doing it all game. Every once in a while, I would love to see her come out on the dribble because the whole team is expecting that long ball. Add a little bit more unpredictability into your play. And especially in these final minutes of the game, that's what you want. Players really running into the attack, taking authority of the game.
UC Irvine's taken authority of the second half. Clearly peppering shots on goal. Spinning around, that's Porter. A little punch from behind, and maybe not a punch per se, a little poke, but turns into a foul. 88th minute.
And let's see if UC Davis can really create a shot on goal from this opportunity here.
Ticking down the last 2 minutes of regulation. That ball way over everything.
And that's something we've seen all game by both teams. Why not thread it through more passes? We haven't seen many players drive inline and create one of those easy crosses, just slotting back to your onset runners. When you're taking these long-range shots, it's so easy for a keeper to see it coming. They have more time to make the save.
Bergoso dragged down from behind. UC Davis, they bend but don't break. They look to make one little wiggle through the crack late in the 89th minute, what could be the 90th. Holly steps up. No stoppage time in college soccer. They play straight through to 90. Holly with the late set piece. Swings it in, headed away.
1 minute.
Vane
1 minute remaining.
can't connect with their teammate in Porter. Shoots wide of net.
Shot by number 22,
And Porter there does a fantastic job to create a shooting opportunity. It was an awkward play, an awkward ball coming into her, and she had that mentality and composure to keep over the ball and create a scoring chance.
Long throw in, about 30 seconds separate us between a winner or heading to overtime. This is Huff, who's gonna go right to that wiggle room right there to race in and toss it in. Less than 20 seconds, lets it fly. And a late run from Schmengi and couldn't get there.
And no true back post runner for UC Irvine there. They need to make sure someone's occupying the back post.
And for the third time in 3 Big West tournament matches, they've all headed to overtime. 0-0 between UC Irvine and UC Davis. At least another 20 to decide this one as we bring up our overtime rules here to end the second half. And then if there is no winner at the end of 110 minutes, we will go to PKs, which has all the drama. The third Big West tournament match so far in 2022 that's headed to overtime. UC Irvine's already won one this season, taking down Cal State Fullerton. First time we may believe in NCAA women's soccer history, at least in a very long time. They won by 2 goals in overtime.
And that's a confidence builder when you're going into overtime already having the experience of winning so recently and coming up big twice. It helps you feel confident in big moments like this.
Bergoso just can't keep her toes on it and leaks out to Hinojosa. So again, these teams stay going the same way they were in the second half, and then they switch after the break in between the 10 minutes. total of 20.
And these are the moments you train for as a player when you're by yourself in your backyard as a kid and you're counting down the clock. It's those overtime moments that are so fun when all the marbles are on the line.
So for UC Davis, their first overtime march this season. UC Irvine, their second straight match in less than a week that's headed to overtime. Not as big of a deal when it's Sunday to Thursday, but it is something to keep in mind for the final on Sunday afternoon. Huff lets it fly. Nobody's there, crossed, and a weird deflection finds its way into Goldstein's awaiting arms.
And it really seemed there like DeBacher could have had a better contact on the ball. It seemed like she had that front foot on the defender. We get a look at this long throw from Huff. It's been dangerous all game. Finally, we have that back post runner in DeBacher just unable to fully get her body into that goal to walk it home.
And it was DeBacher who scored the winner against Cal State Fullerton about 4 minutes into overtime last Sunday. So maybe her becoming a bit more aggressive running in the box from the back line that can help UC Irvine push the pace. They let their attackers get quite a bit of rest at the end of regulation. Here's Monzo, the leading scorer, to Tati Fung.
And again, we're seeing a lot of UC Irvine players standing, ball watching. I would like to see more players running, just little movements towards the ball. You don't need to make 15-yard runs towards the ball, just creating that space for you to get the ball. And especially in overtime, you want your players hungry for the ball, giving it to the player who feels like they can score, and it doesn't seem like there's enough urgency and players just really wanting the ball at their foot.
Yeah, around the professional works of soccer, you normally play the 30 minutes of overtime. Here in college, they play 20. So it comes quick. Fung. A little sideways shove. She spills over and slams the turf in frustration.
And UC Davis there did a fantastic job at immediately switching points of the field. They got the ball and then found space. That's such an easy way to simplify things going into the attack.
And a shove from behind. Down goes Alana Curtis in a very dangerous spot for a free kick.
And Monzo doesn't seem to think it's a foul there, but I believe it was, and she needs to be careful there because this is a great scoring opportunity. And can UC Davis finally make the most out of this set piece? They have been, frankly, coming up short all game and creating really good scoring opportunities off set pieces.
As it's been all night. Here's Jade Holly. Chops her feet, bends it in towards the back post. Hinojosa, it's loose. Flag is raised.
And in my opinion, even though the flag ends up being raised, that's better for UC Davis because there was that moment of sketchiness. That's exactly what you want. You want to make the other team's backline and keep her nervous.
It's hard to find Hinojosa nervous, although this might be it, a second straight overtime game. But Scott Juniper's told us he believes his team's been thriving off the win or go home because all of a sudden they've come with a different mentality, different physicality, and just like the first 45 minutes, you flip the switch, you have to score. Theoretically, even though it could go to PKs 0-0, you have to have that winner's mentality, that championship mentality that they had last year in their run to the throne in the Big West Tournament Championship in 2021. DeBacher continuing to make more OT runs than she pretty much did mostly of regulation. Francesca Van Norden, who's been a centerpiece for the Aggie defense tonight. Maybe not mentioned all too much by us, but still very integral piece for the Aggies keeping this one 0-0.
And I totally agree. And so often, kind of similar to a Becky Sauerbrunn style of play, even though it's not a really showy style of play, when you have a consistent center back that gets done the things that need to get done, it's a great player to have on your team.
Porter settles. Ruelas, as you would say, Grace, saucy move, keeping it with her toes. Fregoso, who's got to be so tired, and then a late charge from Chavez, just can't clear it past midfield. Fregoso settles and way off the mark.
And I love that Fregoso originally took that with her chest, the composure to realize she had space and time, but unable to really let that volley drop and get her foot on it. And again, when Holly gets the ball, it's a long ball. We see Fregoso, just some composure. That UC Irvine backline dropping a bit too much, but hits the bottom of that ball and it goes too high and wide. In volleys, you have to be so patient on them. As a player, you just want to strike it because you see it in front of you, but you have to let it drop, have that extra breath of patience to really be a scoring opportunity.
So Monzo out, Autumn Tompkins coming in, I believe, for the first time tonight. Interesting substitution here for Scott Juniper as we've worked our way closer and closer to the end of the first 10 minutes of OT period number 1.
A very interesting substitution when it's a game like this to sub one of your better players out on the field.
Must have a reason for it. Kept mentioning how fresh his team was, scoring 2 overtime goals. Fregoso just couldn't run to it, and you can see the weary legs getting to her.
And Chavez is doing a better job in the second half, really controlling her body and being able to get big and dominate space.
They'll walk it into Goldstein. Slow roll up forward. Long Beach is in the house. Cal Poly's been in the house for quite some time. Long Beach State finally showcasing, all right, we're here. There's supposed to be 30 minutes between matches, so depending on how this one ends, we'll either start match number 2 at 7 exactly or a little bit after, which would just mean some extra late drama between these two sides. Is that enough to earn a corner? No, for UC Davis.
And UC Davis a bit too predictable. If you have a player running towards ball, even if you don't end up passing there, it makes the defense have to zone you rather than man mark when it's really obvious and you're telegraphing exactly what you're trying to do, building into the attack as a team, then those defenders can stay tight like that. And that's that higher level of soccer mentality, being able to be intentionally deceptive.
Fregoso. And the flag is raised. DeBacher can't turn and run. There's not too much space between, if you see that slight black line right there, yeah, that's the sideline. They have maybe just a two-step, if that, difference between sideline and the wall. That is padded, new this year. Since they installed the new turf, they actually raised the level of the field to be closer to the stands. Fregoso, a little flick. Less than 60 seconds to go in this first overtime period. Porter. Go for goal, but nothing done there by Lexi Trucco.
And a beautiful original effort by Vane there to be able to keep the ball in the box, dance on the ball a little bit. And again, I've been so repetitive about this, but you've got to make sure the shot's getting on goal, especially in a game like this with everything on the line. It has to be the mentality. If you're going to shoot, really put that emphasis of making sure it's on goal.
A little less than 15 seconds away from 100 minutes scoreless between these two sides.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And the second part of overtime will kick off shortly. A mini break for these two sides of about a couple of minutes, but still was expected. Meanwhile, Cal Poly and Long Beach State will await the winner of this one in the final.
It could change the game up a little bit in those last few minutes of overtime, seeing those substitutions potentially come in.
And the interesting is sometimes you see PK specialists come in at goal. That's probably not the case. Goldstein for UC Davis has played every single minute of every single match, and Well, Glow Hinojosa speaks for herself. Both keepers keeping this scoreless so far. Two teams flip sides, just to the ways they were running in the first half. And the second 10 minutes of overtime are underway.
In a second half of overtime, it's all about calculated risks. You want to take risks, you can get your goal, but at the same time, you have to manage how heavy that risk is, and are we still going to be able to have defensive compactness if there's a counterattack?
Sent into the box. It'll be scooped up for the likes of Goldstein, UC Davis. It's funny enough, both keepers have the same uniform. Not too often you see both keepers wearing almost the exact same uniform. One for UC Irvine. There's Goldstein punting it away. In the first two Big West tournament matches, the game-winning goals were scored in the early part of the first part of overtime. Now here they are, scoreless through the first half, looking for a late goal.
And it looks like Monzo's back in the game. I know we were talking about being a bit confused about her getting subbed out in that first overtime half, so she's back in. But Vane there doing a great job. Just these individual efforts, her work rate is still really high even though it's later in the game.
Throw in for UC Irvine. It's everybody getting ready for the excitement. Match number 2 supposedly kicking off in approximately 40 to 45 minutes. This is Holly. It's been a bit of a rock as the right back all night. Fregoso. Back out to Holly. And a slightly deflected ball there. Seemed like there was a weight in it, just weighing it down. Almost a cheeky run from Alyssa Moore, who snuck back on the pitch for UC Irvine.
And even though that play didn't work out for her, I actually like the idea because especially when it gets so many minutes into the game like this, sometimes you can beat defenders by little moments of deception.
Vane. Leaks it through. Punch back Hinojosa. Flicks it away.
And when I was talking about the players who seem to like pressure and rise to it and some players don't, Vane seems to be in this second half of overtime being one of those players that's really rising with the pressure.
It's one thing to get the opportunity, it's another thing to finish.
And Vane gave Font a beautiful slip pass, but they're unable to really get a good shot on goal off of it.
And this turns into a set piece. So many Aggies coming forward. Less than 7 minutes remain in overtime part 2. Big time outswinger.
And that ball by Holly is so hard to finish because it's behind all of her attackers. You want it to be in front of them, ahead of them, so you can just take your momentum straight through. And Holly's had to take so many long-range kicks today. It seems like it's wearing on her body. She's limping a little bit right now. And that can be hard. It can fatigue your body a bit more when you're having to wind up and create those longer range passes all game.
A low kick off the goal kick for Goso. Eventually wins it. Plays it wide to her left. Can this be the deciding moment? Slashing moves left and right. And just a step too late, still an Aggie throw-in.
And UC Davis in the second overtime are doing really well, taking control and momentum of the game.
Alana Curtis. All the players taking that liberty of a step forward or a step backwards in that extra opening right in front of the Cal Poly locker room. Long wind up, very soft throw. Almost leaks its way to Fregoso, the leading Aggie goal scorer with 6 this season. But this is Jaquez turning on the afterburners. That's got to hurt. Racing forward, charging with an attempt for a late challenge. But it's Lexi Trucco who denies.
And for both teams this entire game, so many moments have been like that. Players putting in so much effort and making a great first play, but then that second play where they have to slow it down and have that connected pass, threading the ball, just a little bit of struggle with that tonight for both sides.
Fonts eventually gives way to Hinojosa. As we've reached the semi-midway point of overtime period number 2. We'll see which team can try and strike as late as it gets here in 2022. Maybe one last build-up for the Aggies. Long in the box and flicked away.
And UC Davis is outnumbered there. There's just 2 attackers running against 4 on the back line. That's when I want to see a few more passes to thread the ball, bring the team up more, and then do a longer range pass.
And there's Manzo sending it towards midfield. Fragoso. And a very strong challenge from Chavez.
And we talked about in the first half wanting Chavez to be more aggressive, and she's definitely turned up in this overtime and second half, being really aggressive out of center back.
UC Irvine, this is Gianna Creighton. Towards Moore. Huff for Jaquez. A late run near the end line. And a smart challenge there, earning the goal kick for UC Davis.
And a better build-up play by UC Irvine, probably their best in the second half of overtime, where they're able to connect a few more balls and a few more passes. And it can help if you allow that defender to come to you, dribble it like we saw Jaquez, and then dish. Understanding that spatial awareness of how much to let that defender come, and then those simple slip passes.
Headed forward, Moore makes her run. 1v1 and turns into a corner despite a late shove.
And I believe that was Manzo there that did a great job getting her head on the ball to be able to then get her whole team into the attacking third. And for UC Davis, you don't want to give the ball away so close to goal in a moment like this.
Huff. Knuckling out, swinging more, gets to it! UC Irvine! A late lead in the 108th minute!
And number 16, Moore, so big time. This is the moment where it matters, and she's able to confidently, with so much composure, slot that one home, really against the run of play UC Davis has been controlling. She does so good here. That's a hard finish because it's bouncing up off the ground towards her. She opens her foot so it's a flat surface and just slots it home.
Her 4th goal of the season very well may be her biggest. Questions about her health and her fitness from Coach Juniper said, well, we'd like to get her in. She's quality, and she's quality when she needed to be the most. UC Davis chips it forward, almost for Fragoso. Still 2 minutes for the Aggies to find an extremely late equalizer.
And Coach Juniper is going to be so grateful tonight that Moore was able to play, given that massive of a finish.
Brannigan can't connect with Fragoso. The Eater fans have come to life all the way from Orange County. Would it be Coach Juniper's side, the team that, or as he said, their coach loves golden goal, and well, they've got 3 goals in 2 separate overtime matches.
And UC Davis, they're gonna regret not making more off those set pieces. They had so many chances tonight off set pieces and just didn't make effective enough opportunities for it to really score.
As the great Joe Davis once said, if you want to beat the champs, you gotta knock them out. Still another minute to go for this one here in San Luis Obispo. A little early jumping the gun on the countdown for the final 10 seconds. Irvine in the corner. Is there any way to jolt it free? And a goal kick for Davis. Everybody will be pushing forward after Alyssa Moore's 108-minute goal gave the Anteaters the lead.
Such a big-time goal by Moore when their whole season is on the line to be able to step up and finish that chance.
Chandler Connors racing forward. There's 20 seconds left. The Eaters can taste their second straight finals appearance. And now there's 14 seconds left. UC Davis has to race forward. A late shove, and now they stop the clock. No, they don't. They do with 8 seconds. Because of that shove, there's still 8 seconds left in overtime on the scoreboard clock. Even Goldstein racing forward. Whistle is blown. Giving one last chance for UC Davis.
And this is not the usual set piece taker here, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of ball is played in.
However this ends for UC Davis, it's got to be in the back of the net. Lifted.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And for the second straight season, it's UC Irvine in the Big West Tournament Championship. Alyssa Moore, the hero for the Eaters, scoring late in the second overtime period. And it's UCI looking to continue